First things first, I guess this is exciting if you are a fan of these new artworks, because there are new artworks for some cards. These are not new cards. These are just alternate artworks. So we're going to briefly go over these. Effect Veiler and Nibiru the Primal Being. I personally think they're kind of neat. I don't think I'm going to prefer this Effect Veiler over the OG Effect Veiler, just because the old one, it's got so much story to it. You know, it's like 14 years old at this point. So I don't think I'm going to choose this one over the old one. But like, I do think it's a cool art. Look, it's fine. The Nibiru one, so as far as I understand, this is Nibiru coming out of the rock because it is a primal being. So, you know, like so part of me just never really thought about it. I always just thought, yeah, no, Nib is the rock, but no, it's not the rock. It's something inside the rock. I never really thought about it like that, but I guess it makes sense. I've seen very like split opinions on it. Like, I feel like half find it really cool and badass. The other half just doesn't like it. I don't know. I'm indifferent on it. I think it's fine. I think it is a cool looking card. Like if this artwork I think was on another card, I think it'd be fine. It'll take some time to get used to Nibiru not just being the rock, you know, like that's all, you know, like the rock is just, it is iconic, you know, like replacing Nibiru, like it's always, you're always gonna think about it as the rock, you know. So like, I don't know, if this was on a different card, everyone would be fine with it, I think. But ultimately, that's the nice thing about alt arts. You can pick whichever one you prefer. If you don't like it, you don't have to play this one. You can just play the old one, and that's all Gucci. The only exception to this rule is Stratos, by the way. If you play alt art Stratos, that's a problem. That's the only one where you have no choice. Other than that, these are fine. There's also some others. I don't know if these are these new artworks, the familiar possessed Ossa area. I don't think I've seen these before. I think they're new as well. Maybe they've been out in the OCG, the reprints. Okay, I've never seen these in the TCG, but okay, apparently they're not. I knew these were not new. These are getting reprinted as well in the OCG right now. All of these are old alternate artworks. I wasn't sure about the Charmers. Okay, all right, let's get into some actually new cards. We have a what is this? V-Jump promo. Heart Freezing Snow Crystal or Soulicer Crytstal. Level 6 Light Aqua. 300 attack, 1900 defense. You can use the first and third effect of this card's name once per turn each. If your opponent controls 2 or more monsters than you do, you can special summon this card from your hand. Cannot be destroyed by card effects. You can target an effect monster your opponent controls, negate its effects. Well, that card is not very good. Very underwhelming. But I feel like that's usually the case with V-Jump promos. Yeah, no, this is not great. And then we've got Saiba the Fighting Swordsmith. Level 7 Earth Warrior Synchro. Generic level 7 Synchro. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. You can target a level 6 or lower warrior in your grave, special summon it, but its effects are negated. Also, this card cannot be used as synchro material for the rest of this turn. During your opponent's main phase, you can, quick effect, immediately after this effect resolves, synchro summon using a warrior you control as material. That's not bad. I kind of like that they put the restriction on it so you can't just synchro climb with it, you know, like synchro with a warrior tuner, then bring that warrior tuner back, make a higher level synchro. I like that they stopped them from doing that. It's not a terrible card, not a tuner though. Yeah, it itself is not a tuner, so you're gonna have to like revive a warrior tuner, I guess, to do anything with it. The thing is, it's also not usable for link climbing, right? Because you're not actually producing more bodies with it, because you're turning two monsters into this at minimum, and it just brings one back. So you turn its 2 bodies into 2 bodies. So you can't synchro climb with it. You can't link climb with it. The only good use for it is, I guess, if you have synchro materials that do something when they're sent to the graveyard. I'm not sure exactly where that would fit. By the way, I'm not complaining about that you can't link climb or synchro climb with it. I think that's good. I think that's a good thing, you know? Like, it's a good thing that you can't do that. But I still am struggling to see exactly what you are supposed to do with it. Where does this come out, by the way? Well, what is YO10? What kind of set is that? Because it's not a V-Jump promo, a manga promo. Okay, I don't know. I've never encountered this this set code abbreviation, whatever. Okay, well, nothing too crazy here. Let's get into some potentially real stuff. We got more news on the next deck build pack. First things first, we have Dragon Tail. Justice Hunters is what the pack is called, right? Yeah, Dragon Tail is the first archetype that we're gonna take a look at today, and it is a fusion-based archetype, if I remember correctly. We've got Dragon Tail Lucius, a Earth spellcaster level 4. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. If this card is normal or special, you can add a Dragon Tail monster from your deck to your hand. Okay, that's a solid start to a new archetype, you know, like they got that. If this card is sent to the graveyard as material for a fusion summon, you can set a Dragon Tail spell trap from your deck. Okay, well, that is a phenomenal start, to be honest, because that gives you a Searcher on summon plus something that replaces itself when you use it for a fusion summon. That is a phenomenal card right there. We've got Dragon Tail Femena, which is a level 5 spellcaster, water. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. During the main phase, quick effect, you can discard this card, fusion summon a dragon or spellcaster fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from hand or field as material. If this card is sent to the graveyard as a material for a fusion summon, you can set a Dragon Tail spell trap from your deck. Okay, they seem to have this kind of trait in common, where they will set a Dragon Tail spell trap if they're used for fusion material. This one, being a level 5, is obviously a little weird because you can't really summon it, but you're not supposed to summon it. It doesn't do anything on the field anyways. It is kind of neat that you can like quick effect fuse. You know, it is neat that you can, like, let's say you normal summon this, your opponent goes infinite impermanence, and you go like chain this card to fuse away the target of the impermanence, which I think is pretty cool. I still am wondering if this is a good enough card on its own, because this is basically a polymerization. But it's probably good enough because it also can be good as fusion material. So it's both, it's essentially fusion spell and fusion material in one card, which is a neat approach to the fusion dilemma of having to draw too many combo pieces. So I don't hate it. Dragon Tail Pan. This is a wind dragon level 7. You can only use the first and second effect once per turn each. If this card is sent to the graveyard as fusion material, you can set a Dragon Tail spell trap from your deck. Then you can destroy a monster on the field. Oh, so this has got even better bonus. This is just the same secondary effect plus more. Okay. If a face-up fusion monster you control is destroyed by an opponent's card effect while this card is in your grave, place this card on the bottom of the deck, and if you do, special summon a non-fusion Dragon Tail from your graveyard. Okay, so this secondary effect is kind of situational. That probably doesn't happen super often, but it does. It stops your opponent from destroying your stuff, which is cool. The thing with this card is that it's exclusively good as fusion material. It does nothing else for the deck, right? There's no consistency here, no starter potential, no versatility. Like, oh, this can be your normal summon or your fusion spell or whatever. Like this does nothing except for you have to fuse with it, which could still be good enough because the effect when you fuse with it is pretty good, especially going second or on the opponent's turn. You know, mind you, this can fusion summon on the opponent's turn. So you get to set a spell trap and pop a monster, which is pretty good. I do think you would probably try to play this card, but it is gonna suck to draw sometimes when you can't fuse. You know, it's just gonna be weird. But it is a good card regardless. We got Dragon Tail Urgula, which is a fire dragon. You can only use the first and second effect once per turn each. If this card is sent to the graveyard as a fusion material, you can set a Dragon Tail spell trap. Man, they must have a lot of spell traps if you want, like, because it seems like if you are actually just performing 1 or 2 fusion summons, you're going to set like 3 or 4 spell traps from your deck. They need to have a lot of different spell traps for that to be useful. Otherwise, you'd have so much redundancy. Then you can destroy a spell trap on the field. If this card is in your graveyard, you can target a spellcaster Dragon Tail in your grave. Place this card on the bottom of the deck, and if you do, add that monster to your hand. See, this is even better than this is a lot better than this one, because they both have a similar first effect, The secondary effect on this card, though, is a lot better because it doesn't require you to like wait for your opponent to do something, right? Like this will give you the monster back immediately without your opponent having to destroy your thing first, right? So this is phenomenal. This just goes a lot of plus. Honestly, this is a pretty good start for a fusion archetype. Just in terms of the main monster lineup, this is very good because it solves, or it attempts to solve one of the core problems of fusion decks, of course, which is that you're investing a lot of cards into fusion monsters, which makes your deck inconsistent, and it also means you're going down in card advantage a lot. Here, every single one of the monsters has an effect when used as fusion material, it'll replace itself. So you're not gonna lose cards by going for fusion summons, which is pretty cool. We've got Dragontail Altharion. This is obviously the second the second piece to the puzzle. Needs to be good fusion monsters. We have a level 8 Earth with 3000 attack, 2500 defense. Needs a Dragontail monster and a 1+ monsters in the hand. Izazi, thank you for the 12 months. Nightsider, thank you for the 14, and everyone else, appreciate the support. Thank you. Welcome back. It's good to be back, and you guys are making it even better by returning with your subs. Thank you so much. If this card is fusion summoned, you can target monsters on the field and or in the graveyards up to the number of monsters used as material from the hand. Return them to the hand. Ooh, wait. Oh, that card's nice. That card is nice. Let me read the secondary effect. If 2 or more monsters are sent to the graveyard at the same time while this card's in your grave, you can special summon this card but banish it when it leaves. Oh, so if you like, it's gonna be in your graveyard, you're gonna perform another fusion summon that's gonna send monsters to the graveyard at the same time, or even a link summon, right? Just bring it back. That's pretty good. But like, this is good for a multitude of reasons. Like, you can use this card in so many different ways. You can add back hand traps. You can add back follow-up. You can also bounce opponents' cards, right? Like you can bounce your opponent's cards. It's very flexible in that. Like you're gonna, let's say you use 2 monsters from your hand as material. You're gonna and then add back like 1 Ash Blossom you used last turn and bounces 1 card in your opponent's field. That's pretty good value for a fusion summon. That's pretty good. And the cool thing about this is that it's good on both turns, right? Like you can summon this thing going first and just add back your resources, which would be fine. Or you can set it up like to fusion summon it on the opponent's turn to have like a bounce for 1 or 2 cards, which is pretty strong. Okay. Okay, dude, good start. Dragontail Grammel. Level 7 spellcaster. Dragontail monster plus a monster, exactly one monster in hand this time. You can only use the first and second effect once per turn each. When you activate a Dragontail card or effect, quick effect, target a card your opponent controls, destroy it. Okay, I like it. If 2 or more monsters are sent to the graveyard at the same time while this card's in your grave, special summon this card, banish it when leaves the field. Okay. So, I kind of like the monster lineup. I like it. There's a lot of cool stuff here. I like the way it like interacts with the opponent. I've always been a fan of fusion decks. You know, I've always been a fan of like fusion decks, and I do like the way this deck attempts to. From what I'm seeing here, it's like it's a pretty cool design. I think you got some bounces, you got recursion, which is very cool. You got probably some spell traps in the mix. I mean, we know there's going to be spell traps. But like the main way you interact with your opponent is probably like, you know, this one is gonna be a pop, this one is gonna be a bounce, and then whatever the trap. I hope there's no Omni Negate trap. I hope there's no Omni Negate trap. Well, we'll see. K2 Dragontail, normal spell. You can only activate 1 card with this card's name per turn. Add a Dragontail monster from your deck to your hand. Then, if your opponent controls a monster, you can fusion summon a dragon or spellcaster monster from your extra deck using monsters from hand or field as material. Ooh, that's good. I mean, we don't have to. I don't have to explain why that's good, right? A Rhoda with a bonus, a Rhoda that can also be a polymerization. We don't have to talk about that, right? We understand. Rahu Dragon Tail. You can only activate one card with this card's name per turn. Fusion summon a Dragon Tail fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand, deck, and/or field as material. Also, you cannot special summon from the extra deck for the rest of this turn after this card resolves, except fusion monsters. They gave him branded fusion. They gave him branded fusion. Oh, wait, but it's... Oh... But it's balanced because they require a monster from the hand, at least. Oh, that's good. That's probably fine. I mean, that's a good card. That's powerful. But that's... I like that, like, little twist on it. You know, like, that's a good way to balance that sort of effect, right? Like, you're gonna be able to send anything... Like, you're gonna send one Dragon Tail monster from your deck for free, basically, right? Because these guys, one of the most powerful things with branded fusion is that it basically gets to send any monster from the deck to the graveyard, right? Like, because the wording on some of the branded fusion monsters is like so open, like, oh, send any dark monster, send any light monster. Like, yeah, of course they're gonna abuse the shit out of branded fusion like that. With this one, the only thing that you can send from the deck is the Dragon Tail monster, which is good. Don't get me wrong. They all have effects when they're fused from the deck to the graveyard. They're going to get a spell trap for free, essentially. But it's not like you're sending any dark monster or any light monster or whatever, right? Like that. There's a limit to what you can do with sending from one monster from the deck here for the fusion monster, for the fusion material. The rest has to be from your hand, which is neat. I like this. I think that's a good way to balance this sort of card. So yeah, that's neat. Okay. Dragon Tail Horn. Okay, now the trap cards. You can only activate one card with this card's name per turn. Target an attack position monster. Return it to the hand extra deck. Then you can place a Dragon Tail card from your graveyard or banishment on the bottom of the deck. Then draw a card. Okay, so we've got a compulsory evacuation device that draws you a card, which in the grand scheme of things, if this wasn't an archetype that gets a whole bunch of spell traps for free, you would not play this card, right? In most decks, you wouldn't play a trap like this simply because it is a trap. But because this deck seems like it produces so many spell traps for free, maybe it's just a neat card in a grind game, right? If you get it for free, a compulse and a draw is not bad. You can ash this. Yes, you can ash this. But I think that's not the point. Bro, if your opponent has ash against Dragon Tail, they're not ashing Dragon Tail Horn, okay? They're ashing Rahu Dragon Tail. Calm down, all right? No one's really gonna ash Dragon Tail Horn unless you draw 2 ashes, right? And you like ash them once on their turn and then ash them again on your turn. All right, come on, you're gonna ash this. Dragon Tail Flame. You can target. You can only act one per turn. Target a face-up spell on the field. Oh, that's broken. Negate its effects. Then you can place a Dragon Tail card from your graveyard or banishment bottom of the deck, except Dragon Flame target. Okay. That is as close to an Omni Negate, I guess, that I'm still willing to not call an Omni Negate. It's not an Omni Negate because you can't use it on monsters. Obviously can't use it on traps, but that doesn't really matter. But yeah, that's pretty good. That's really good. So, in a world, let's put aside any sort of splashing possibility because that's really hard for me to evaluate right now. In a world where you just play a Dragon Tail deck at this point in time, what are you gonna have? You're gonna have, honestly, a pretty low amount of starters. Because, I mean, I guess you'd have 9 at least, right? You'd have Dragon Tail Lucius, you'd have K2 Dragon Tail, and you'd have Rahu Dragon Tail as all kind of cards that, like, will probably get you going on their own pretty much. And that's fine. what are you trying to do with this deck, right? You're trying to fuse all of your stuff that you fuse away has value in the graveyard. You're gonna set up in a very, very, very optimal setup. You would have both trap cards, Dragontail Flame and Dragontail Horn. The cool thing about this, by the way, which I actually really like, is that you only have to play one of each of these traps, and you will still not run out of them, because they can put each other back to the bottom of the deck, right? Like put a Dragontail card from the graveyard or banishment to the bottom, then draw a card. That means one of these trap cards can recycle the other, right? So like you can keep resetting the same trap cards from your deck, because they will put themselves back there, which is pretty cool. So it seems like a pretty grindy deck, because nothing that you're putting up here is incredibly crazy, right? Like you're not putting up anything super ridiculous or unbreakable, which is really cool design in my opinion. I like it. We've got a bounce. We've got one spell negation. We've got a pop on Grammel, but it's a pop that can be chain blocked, so it's like it's okay, you know. And then if we have the means to fusion summon on the opponent's turn, which we could by adding the level 5 to the hand, we also have like a bounce or two off of Eltharion, right? That is basically what we've got in terms of what the deck can produce, alongside a lot of like grind game, right? Which is pretty cool. I like this. I think this is a very promising archetype. That if anything, it might not be powerful enough, but I like the idea of a format where this deck is good enough to be played. You know, I think it'd be pretty cool if this deck was good enough. I really like the ideas here. I think it's a cool deck. It's like the kind of deck where I read it and I'm like, I want to play that. You know, like that seems like the kind of deck I want to try. It's pretty cool. I like it a lot. No, that's Dragontail. Honestly, is it just me? These deck build packs have been getting like just incredible over the last couple of months, right? Deck build packs just seems like that's where it's at. Like they just get straight to the point, you know? Like you 3 new archetypes, and like the chances that these are playable by now are just like really, really high. Like, yeah, Yugioh wasn't great, but look at the other two, man. Like they're just putting friggin' this stuff is playable right out the box usually.